energy proficiency certificates, EPCs.
I know. Which sound very dull, but are not.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of government indecision going along here. There's a lot of messaging which I think, well, we all think could be a lot better. And then the remedy to target by 2030 to bring everyone up to a level or an EPC rating of C or above.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's lots of talk about, well, if come 2030 or 2028, whatever the date they finally land on, if you have a property which has an EPC rating of D, E or below, I mean, what does that mean? You can't rent it.
That's what it will mean.
It's a little bit like the cars, isn't it?
Yep.
You suddenly, all diesel cars are going to stop driving around London.
It's like you can't sell a car without an MOT, or rather you would struggle to sell a car without an MOT.
What do you think? Talk to me a little bit about why you chose one of those.
So EPCs, so this is the gorgeous, lovely British fudge, I call it, which is that they've decided...
Not the sweet fudge.
No, not sweet, rather sour or slightly curdled fudge, I think. But which is that the government have committed to the 2050 net zero promise. Part of that has got to be properties, both homeowners and landlords and everything, and commercial as well. So they've committed to that, but they didn't really think through, did they, how they're going to get to that. So we are slowly tiptoeing towards a horrible fudge, which will probably be lower levels of commitment by the government, but also more money to pay by landlords, but possibly the EPCs not being quite as massively enforced as they might think.
Look, I think, Ed, you touched on it. I think it's the uncertainty. I think my advice is landlords got to plan for it now. It's going to happen. It's going to come in.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest fear, and I think I've said it on record, is this is the biggest fear for landlords. Forget about anything else. It's the cost, and it's those older, a third of those properties out there are older properties, and the cost of bringing that up to date, and that's a big woe for landlords. So
I was interviewing an Essex letting agent, but he's also the largest landlord, I think, in Essex by quite a long chalk, and he was saying, look, out of our older stock, the only way we're going to get it up to C by 2030 is if we strip out all the interiors and reboard it inside.
It costs them a fortune.
He said it's going to cost 15-20 grand per property. Tenants would have to move out. So
where do they have to go?
Where do they go?
And what's the rent's going to be when it gets fitted out?
Exactly. To the rent. Anyway, exactly. So if we were talking about what's actually going to happen with this.
Unintended consequence.
Exactly. Unintended consequence, what I think will really happen, you may disagree, is that the government will have to back down. And the Greens won't like it. It'll be placards all over the place, but it won't happen.
I think, but I think also out there, and I think
we've got to get ready.
We're going to do an article next week on it. There are some really good grants out there that governments will get. People don't know about them. For argument's sake, if your tenant's on benefits and you don't have central heating in your property, you can actually get some free grants actually to do the kit out.
I think eventually they'll have a system whereby they'll go, older properties which are really a struggle to get up to a C will be given longer to do it,
or they're given exemptions,
or they give exemptions. And the ones in the middle which are perfectly doable, don't cost that much, you won't have any excuses, you will have to pay for it.
They will be forced to do something, Ed, purely because of the stock limitation.
It's just you can't upgrade. You can't upgrade. What is it? I don't know. 23 million homes in how many years have we got?
Well, if you think about in the North East, if you think about a property in County Durham, for argument's sake, you might have a benefit tenants paying the best part of £5,000 a year on benefits. You've got a really old 1910, 1920s property, and you've got to kit it out. It's going to cost you the best part of 10 to 15 grand, and you're a landlord with 2-3 properties.
And the property's probably only worth 80 grand.
Is this going to happen?
So it'll happen, but it'll happen in the best way possible, which is that the politicians trying to push this through, who are doing it for good reasons, which is we need to have a greener...
It'll be watered down.
It'll be watered down. And I think there'll be exemptions, because there's no other way of doing it. The only other way is for either landlords to go in their back pockets, unlikely to happen in many areas of the UK, or the government goes in their pockets, under the current circumstances, even less likely to happen.